Hello everybody, I'm Curtis Eustace with CurtisEustacePhotography.com, a place where you can learn to be the photographer you've always wanted to be. Today we're going to talk about the Cambo Actus. So you're probably wondering what a Cambo Actus is. It's sort of like a mini view camera for DSLRs. So this here is not the Cambo Actus. This here is a 4x5 camera body that I used to use quite a bit. And in the film days, I used them all the time. I used a 4x5 and a 5x7 and on occasion the 8x10 sheet film holder. This is from the film days. And so what you have to do with this, you can convert this to shoot digital cameras. You just have to put the appropriate back on it and then of course have a lens on it. This doesn't have anything, it's stripped down. The lenses are stored away. I was using this with my DSLR or my mirrorless camera, but it really was sort of a hassle. The 4x5 is a really big area that it captures, and you're only capturing a very small portion of that 4x5 area. So I wanted a camera that really was designed for DSLRs and mirrorless cameras to take the place of this. And another thing, this is very, very cumbersome to take with you. So if I'm going to be doing a still life or shooting on location, and I need something where I can adjust the swing and the tilt, this works, but it's very, very cumbersome, very, very hard to travel with. So I came along the Cambo Actus. Let me move this over. Besides, it's really heavy too. So, what am I using now? Well, I am using, ta-da, the Cambo Actus. So Cambo developed this camera specifically for mirrorless cameras, DSLR cameras. It has several functions. Many of the functions that a 4x5 would have, but it is missing a couple things. One of the things it has is I can, of course, adjust the swing in the front with the knob, and then I can adjust the tilt in the front. So for what I do, I usually use this camera for still lifes. And when I do a still life, I'm using what's called light sculpting. So I'm doing multiple exposures with a flashlight, sculpting the light, and then later on I put it all together in Photoshop. So this is good for that. And why I was sort of seeking this is because I can, of course, adjust my depth of field, my plane of focus, so everything is in focus if it's further back. It does have rise on the back, so the camera I can raise and lower the back of the camera, and then I adjust the focus. This does have alternative bellows. You can get a wide angle bellow for it. Right now, what I've got on it is a Rodenstock 75mm lens, and it's just a plain Rodenstock lens. It's nothing special. It's not a digital lens that Rodenstock makes. I bought it used from B&H for $500. I had a 110 for the 4x5, and that was just a little bit too much for this particular camera. So things that you're going to have to get when you purchase this camera. It comes with everything that you see here except for, of course, the camera and the lens. So basically, you'll get all this good stuff here. You'll get this. This is what you get. This is the actual camera. And then it folds up, it slides together, puts together, and then this is the actual amount of camera that you have to take. So it becomes very, very easy to put in a bag. And I actually have a special case for it. So this has an Arca type Swiss rail on it, but you don't have to use the Arca Swiss. It's got a couple screws in the bottom, so you can use your regular plate, whatever you use on your tripod. And then you'll have to get a lens plate for it, like you would for a large format camera. This is a 0 type hole in it. For my Rodenstock, it slides into that, clips down, and then your bellows is really neat because it's magnetic. So I just slap it on there, and it slaps on there, and there it is. And then I attach my camera, just like that, and I'm ready to go. So there are some downsides to this. So if you're out in the field and you're not tethering, this may not be so much of an issue. But I tether, and I usually am shooting in the studio. So with the Sony camera, at least, your tether slot is going to be over here. It's your multi-port, and it's like a micro USB, and it plugs into the side. The wire release for the Sony is the exact same port. So you can't release the shutter with a wireless or wired shutter release. Okay, well, you can release the shutter with the infrared, right? Problem is, if I'm away from the camera, it'll be almost virtually impossible because the infrared port is somewhere around in here, and it's behind this bellows here. So sometimes it doesn't want to pick it up. So I'm sitting there holding it above. Usually when I'm doing still life, I'm actually fairly close to the still life. So I can sit there and kind of do this number and then get it to actuate. So that's a problem. If I were out in the field, I don't know if I would tether or not. I guess I could have someone stand there at the camera and have them push, but that means I have to have somebody with me. So that's kind of a bad thing. If you get the Nikon or Canon version, of course that's not an issue because they use separate ports, and the Nikon and Canon would work just fine with this. The one thing about the knobs, that if you get it, you'll find that you can find center with the knobs, okay? Like the swing actually has quite a bit of play in it, but you can find center. And then definitely you can find center on the tilt. You can find center on your rise on the back. When you focus, there is no focused in the back. There is a shift in the back, so I can shift this left and right. I can shift it left and right, but there's no knob for it. I'm basically just loosening this up and then pushing this left or right, okay? What this doesn't have tilt in the back. So I've got my swing, my tilt in the front, and then I've got my elevation, rise and lower, my rise in the back, and a shift side to side, but there is no tilt in the back. So if I'm going to be pointing up at a subject and I've got converging lines, I'm still going to run the same problem like I'm shooting with a DSLR. Yes, I can adjust my tilt in the front, but that's really all it's going to do is give me my greater depth of field. So it's not going to convert necessary for architectural. But if you're everything in parallel to whatever you're shooting, you might be able to just do the raise and lower of the camera in the back. So I can raise and lower that camera. I can also turn this from vertical to horizontal. There's a little lever here. So I can turn it like that. And then I can turn it back if I can find it. Yeah, back like this. So I can go either vertical or horizontal with it. It's a great little camera. It's a product. Cambo, of course, is made in the Netherlands. It's solid. It's all metal construction. It's very, very, well made, tactile. One of the things that you'll be wary of, though, is that if you're just messing with this and you're wanting to do a quick change and you reach down and grab a knob, it's very, very easy to grab the wrong knob. Okay, so you got to kind of pay attention to which knob you're grabbing. They're all like really close. This is focus right here. So if you're all focused in and you mean just to raise or lower the back a little bit, you grab the wrong knob, all of a sudden you're out of focus, and then you got to refocus. I can lock everything down with these little nuts here, so nothing will move. I can't focus it. The raise and lower is on this side, so I can lock it down. So once I have everything locked down, you cannot lock down the front. There is no knobs to lock down the front. So it is what it is. So once you do your tilt and your swing, you're really not messing with the front of the camera anyway. So usually you're messing with the camera in the back once you get it all set up. So once it's all locked down and you're good to go. And this thing works, it really is a nice camera, and I love it for my still lifes. My only pet peeve is with the Sony, in that I can't use a wired camera release. I have to use the infrared camera release, and then it's blocked by this fabric of the bellows. But anyway, if you're thinking about getting this camera, the camera itself, without the lens and without the camera, of course, just that piece I showed you is about $2,000. So $2,000 investment. And then, of course, you got a lens. You get the lens plate, so that's probably another $550. And then, of course, your camera. So right here, you're looking probably around $5,500 worth of camera and lens. But it's with the 42 megapixel sensor. It really does a great job, and it's tack sharp. And I really, really appreciate the ability to get a larger depth of field, because I can change my shift and swing in the front, and that really is helpful. But anyway, if you have any questions or comments, please post them below. I'll be happy to answer any questions if you have any questions that may have arisen because of this video. Please visit my website, curtiseustacephotography.com. It's still under construction, but I'm working on it. And please subscribe. If you like the video, I would appreciate it if you'd share it, and also please subscribe. Thanks, have a great day, and we'll see you next time.